Hey lovelies, Lisa here with Mindful Tarot, and here with another installment, day 5 of hashtag 78 days, thinking about the Emperor. So, the Emperor. Um, the deck I've chosen is Barbara Moore's Steampunk Tarot, and it's a deck that I think is really perfect for the kinds of complexities and dilemmas and entanglements and challenges and opportunities of this card. You know, that sort of steampunk um, mingling of technology and a sense of magic, of past, present, future. Um, the ways in which the kind of mechanical articulations of steampunk, all the gears and dials and hydraulic levers and all of that, how all of that is in the interest of something that is actually, quite crazily beautiful. How this sort of things that we can think of as metallic and mechanical, nonetheless, in the imagined world of steampunk, have a kind of beautiful, vivid life to them. The Emperor. So, this is a card that I think is challenging for a lot of people. For me, I recognize the ways in which it's a deeply important card in my karma, in my self identity. The Emperor alongside Death, and I'll say that more about that pairing in a little bit, are my soul cards, my essence cards, my birth cards. And, I live in a world where one of my historic challenges, and it's something I'm dealing with right now, like literally today, yesterday, this week, this year, where the challenge for me is, how do I stay in the vibrant, alive space of the Empress, of the Fool, the space of the High Priestess, the space of kind of intuition, High Priestess, let's say, the creative depths, the pulsating, beautifully integrated cycles of life, of creativity, of that uh, vibrant energy of Venus, of series of the Empress. How do I stay in touch with that vibrancy and not move too quickly to structures and institutional forms? My tendency is to be sparked into inspiration and then, like, okay, now we've got a project, let's make it happen. But right now, my life is really calling to me to be as open and spacious as, the sky behind the Fool in Arcanum Zero. To be as open as that zero, as that womb, that space of pure potential. So I'm drawn towards structure. I'm inspired and elicited into life, but I'm drawn towards structure. So how do we move forward and stay open? And I like how Barbara Moore puts it with the Emperor. So in her guidebook, there's kind of a quote at the beginning of each description of the card, and the quote is in the voice of the card's archetype. And so the Emperor says, "Nature provides us with great bounty once a year. I make sure we have something to eat every day." Right? Like, all right, yeah, nature, the Empress, bounty, the sensual fullness of life. That's all well and good, but how do we get the trains running on time? And she writes, Barbara Moore writes, "The Emperor, unlike the Empress, has strictly political and worldly associations. Uh, as we have seen, the Empress is the essence of creative power, which is based on ever-changing cycles, that pulsating current of life, right? The Emperor, on the other hand, generates straight lines, grids, and constancy. And this association with 4, I mean, it's the fourth, right? It's number 4, and the sort of the stability of the throne, the way that, the Emperor sort of very traditionally is figured as this, absolutely stable, enthroned character. The stasis of this enthroned, full-faced frontal figure recalls the stability of the Chariot. The way in which the Chariot is number 7, you've got this kind of 4 and 3, this energy of a stability of structure, which is nonetheless moving forward. That's part of what's so cool about the Chariot as a card. Talk about that more in a few days. But the Emperor, stability, order, structure. So for a lot of us, that feels oppressive. Like, stability, structure, great. That kills life. How do we keep life alive? For me, I guess I just realized the ways in which I myself keep being drawn into that structure. That's where my energy always wants to manifest as structure. And so for me, I just realized the ways in which I am the Emperor. I aim for control. I aim for stability. And so I can't just push this card away and not like it. It's me. I mean, me, because I'm also I always am drawn toward being completely bossy. I like to control things. Yeah, it's true. I like to lead. I like to think about structures. So I can't just push this away. I have to think how I work with him, that energy, how I work with it in a vibrant way. So how do I inhabit the Emperor while also being the Empress? Part of it, I think, in Barbara Moore's card, and the artist is Ali Fell. In this card, you can see the corner, the sort of caps on the throne. We have the 4 elements. So there's a magician kind of integrative power to the Emperor as well. When the Emperor's fulfilling her potential fully, this is magic. This is magic. And I think steampunk, that style really bespeaks the blending of structure and magic, of what is alive and what can become mechanical and deadly. Yeah. So, I'm feeling very vigorous today. That vigor is part of this card. How do I hold that? How do I hold? How do I hold that roaring Emperor energy with the sweet pulsations of life? And just a little word about tarot dualism. Melanie Lucia, in comments on my discussion of the Empress yesterday, really talks about how the interpretation from Julia Turk, Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea, of Venus as the false light. It's the morning star. It's what we think is the sun, but it's not the sun. And all of that patriarchal stuff, right? I mean, this is classic. The moon versus the sun. The moon is reflected light. The sun is the real light. That kind of yin and yang, and that sort of, the activity of the male, the passivity of the female, the truth of the male, the delusion of the female. The tarot speaks in dualisms. It speaks that kind of yes, no, either or quality of human thinking and creating and building and structuring. That's the Emperor. He is Mr. Dualism guy, embodied in the stability of the 4, of the throne, of power. It's on us to figure out how we work with those dualities into which we're born as humans in this world culture of ours, these world cultures. It's on us to dissolve those dualisms compassionately and creatively. Rawr! Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your practice, everyone.